Hey guys, it's Gourmet Galaxy. It has been a minute. It's been hectic. I have been working a lot, and my previous tripod did break on me, and I just never really got around to buying a new one. But because of our upcoming vacation, I did decide to buy a new tripod. But tonight, I did start making a lasagna last month. The husband had been mentioning that he's been wanting it and wanted me to try. And when I made it last month, it was just a big hit. We all ate it for days. So we're going to go ahead and make it again. And this time, I'm going to walk you through the recipe I used. And it is world's best lasagna. We will obviously have the link down in the description. Again, I hope everyone's been doing well. Sorry it has taken so long. But you've sometimes got to just put certain things on hold while you focus on your family and your health. With that being said, we've already got our onions minced up just because I use a mincer and it's really loud. And I would prefer not to have that being so loud in the video. So we will, though, go ahead and crush up 2 cloves of garlic. Just, you want to get them nice and crushed so that way it can release the flavoring and aroma of it. And with the onions, it is just 3/4 cup minced onion. Like I said, I use a mincer. I don't like chopping so much, especially with onions. That's a no-go. Now, this recipe does require a pound of mild Italian ground sausage. It does say 3/4 cup ground beef, but I used the pound and it actually tasted really good, really meaty. So there are a few tweaks in this recipe. I will be sure to go ahead and add those tweaks I made down into the description so you can kind of do it the way I did it. I should have grabbed my meat smasher. One moment. So what we are going to do, sorry guys, I really thought I had a handy right here. Like I said, chaotic, crazy, it's okay though. So we got our ground beef, our sausage, and there we want to go ahead and get your minced onions in there as well as your garlic cloves. Now you are going to want to use a pan. I have this one. This is my absolute favorite. I got it at Walmart. It can even go inside the oven. So it's a win-win for me. Wow, those onions are strong. So we're gonna get this stove turned on. We're just gonna start mixing it together. Now, usually it's good to start this about 2 hours. I start it around 1:32, so that way it gives the sauce that good 2-hour window of simmering, and then the rest of the time it will be baking in the oven. That way it'll be ready by the time dinner comes. Otherwise, if you start it a little bit later, thinking, oh, it's going to be a quick recipe, trust me, it's not going to be quick. You want to make sure to cook it at the exact temperature and times that is required. Otherwise, it's not going to taste great. So while this is going to start browning up, let's get extras off of here. We are going to, I lost my spot. We're gonna get the rest of our ingredients ready. So we're gonna go ahead and get tomato paste, crushed tomatoes, and tomato sauce. I use a big can of tomato sauce and a big can of crushed tomatoes, and then I believe it's just this one. Where is all right. Oh, rereading. You want to use 6 ounces, 2 6-ounce cans of tomato paste, but I forgot I did grab a 12-ounce can this month. I thought I just grabbed 1 can, so I was panicking a little bit, but we're good. And so you want 12 ounces of tomato paste, a big can of the crushed tomatoes, and a big can of tomato sauce. On top of that, we are going to get our sugar ready as well. We want 2 tablespoons of sugar. And I just use little dishes as always. Basil. Do that's parsley. Basil. We do want the rains do not fly out at us. We also want to make sure we want to use fresh parsley and then some dried basil, as well as Italian seasoning. And then we'll be using Italian seasoning as well as fennel. This is the only one that I could find that's organic, but tastes the same. And then you will also be using pepper. I could find my regular pepper. If not, that's okay. I just gonna grind up some pepper real quick. And salt. For the sauce, we're going to be doing 2 tablespoons of sugar, 1.5 teaspoons of dried basil leaves, 1.5 teaspoons salt. Where did I just put the salt? then for the Italian seasoning, that's not the Italian, that's still basil. A teaspoon of Italian seasoning. I did just a tad bit over. That's okay. And then we are going to do half a teaspoon of the fennel seeds. Down a little over. It's okay. They're seeds, so it's not really even. Be sure you are paying attention to your meat mixture. Alright, and then we're going to get a quarter teaspoon of black pepper. And then we will need to chop up the parsley. Rinse this off good. It wants 4 tablespoons of parsley, so we're just going to start up with this. I'm not going to use the mincer for the parsley just because it doesn't really chop it up good, so I'm going to go ahead and just use the knife and cutting board way. And we want to make sure to get that finely cut up. We don't want big leaves. We're going to start out with this, but measuring this, see how much we've got so far. There's my tablespoon. 1, 2, most of it off. So we'll just chop up a little bit more. Any excess, just throw it away. We don't need it. Rinse off all our hands. Check out our mixture here. We want to make sure it's all cooked before we add anything to it. We do not need to drain it. So start with all the spices and salt and start doing that away. While that is finishing, we're going to go ahead and get all the cans opened up. now what we're going to do is we're going to start adding these in one by one. And I kind of just do a back and forth motion. And I always try to get every bit out. Tomato paste is kind of got a flop in there. I'm going to go ahead and start stirring this. You want to make sure to get everything mixed in there really good. And now you just let it cook. You cover it. We're going to cover it, let it simmer. I usually cook it about on low to 1 if you have an electric stove. And we will be back in about 1.5 to 2 hours and check on it and see how it's doing and get the rest of it made. Alright, so the timer just went off for the meat sauce. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start preparing our lasagna. Now, I usually just buy the oven ready. That way I don't have to worry about boiling the noodles, them breaking anything. This way, they're perfectly cooked, ready to go right into our pan. I use a pretty deep dish pan. It's made by Pyrex, so it's got a pretty deep width in here. Perfect for the lasagna. So we're gonna, I need more counter space. We're gonna go ahead and start getting the cheese sauce ready. Let me get this back on. So at this point we want to make sure we have our ricotta cheese. I use the Galbani and then the Parmesan cheese. We're going to use 3/4 cup of it. I use Belgasio. And same with fresh mozzarella. You do want to make sure that they are fresh because it tastes a lot better. And just why use stuff that's not fresh? I mean, what's the point of that? And you want to make sure to have 1 egg. As well as a little bit more parsley and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. At this point, let me find one of my bowls. I thought I grabbed it out already. So we're just going to go ahead and use any kind of mixing bowl. And with this, we are going to be putting the entire thing of ricotta. This is 15 ounces. Let's open oven. We want one of the mix this up real good. Probably use a fork instead. You do want to make sure your oven is already preheated to 375, because if you decide to put in a casserole dish in the oven before it's preheated, it will actually shatter the glass because you're putting room temperature object in at a high cooking degree temperature. So we just want to make sure this is stirred up. I still got to put my salt in there. I might add just a tad bit more parsley.
Yeah, we don't need that to happen.
What happened?
Exploding.
Yeah, I've already had that happen once.
Don't need it to happen again.
Yeah, that's how I've learned my lesson. I actually was very upset because I was making pork chops. 1 minute they're cooking, next minute it's just kaboom. We're just going to use a little bit of salt. Now you do want to try to have a pretty decent area to put everything together, but I'm limited on counter space, so I do with what I can when I can. And now at this point I do use a measuring cup so that way I don't overuse it, because you can actually use this for spaghetti sauce if you have anything extra. It's really good. So we'll get this set to the side. We'll get it turned off. And we always want to start with the meat sauce on the bottom. That way it will help prevent it from sticking. Just kind of. I do have a bit of a smaller spoon. Put a little bit more in there. Give it a little bit of shake and a shimmy. That way it also will help. So once you do that, you're going to take your noodles again, whether you buy them oven ready or you boiled them or made them, doesn't matter, as long as they are lasagna noodles. We're just going to make a nice little bottom. I like to kind of squish it onto the meat sauce because it will actually help coat the bottoms of it as well, which will in turn help with it cooking. And I try to not have it overlap as much, and if I do have an overlap, I'll make sure to have a little bit of sauce in between. Again, that way it all cooks evenly. This in. Now, depending on the size of your casserole dish, you could have 3 to 4 layers, maybe even 6 layers across. I try to get at least 4. And I will show you what the first layer looks like when we're done building it. So after that is on, we are going to take the ricotta cheese, give it a little bit more of a stir. Now we're going to switch over to a spoon. Just going to go ahead and use this spoon. And you're just going to kind of spread it across all the noodles. Now I'll hold down a noodle and literally spread it across the noodle itself. And again, I will show you guys. It's gonna take a little bit sometimes, and that's okay. It is okay. We don't rush perfection. So this is just the meat sauce and the ricotta cheese. So after that, you're going to get your mozzarella slices. If I can get it opened. There we go. And what I will do is I usually will put about a couple of 2 to 3 rows of mozzarella, 3 across. So this time looks like it's actually going to be a row of 3. So then at this point, let me make it a little bit more even. At this point now, it should look like that. And after that, we're gonna grab some more meat sauce. Again, we're gonna take our measuring cup. We're just gonna keep repeating these steps until the dish is full or your desired amount of layers. And you're just gonna slowly, because at this point with the mozzarella being on there, you wanna make sure that each layer is going to be covered. Because you'll be doing this again in several layers, but you wanna make sure that the meat sauce is in every single bite. Go ahead and use this one. A bit more. There we go. And then from there, you're going to sprinkle with some of the Parmesan cheese. Sorry, I couldn't get it open. I'm just gonna do a good shake. Alright, so your first layer should be looking like that. And what you're going to do after that is just keep repeating until, like I said, it is your desired amount. And it's like switching out a little bit later. You want to make sure you use the same amount of noodles in each row. So let's do that. 1, 2, 4. My ultimate goal is to try to make sure to use all of your ricotta, because there is no ability to reuse the ricotta afterwards. So take full advantage of your bowl of ricotta. Why let cheese go to waste? And I bought 2 packs of mozzarella cheese so that way I know I have enough. So last time I did just buy one, and only one package wasn't fully enough for the amount I needed. So it's always best to just grab one more just to be safe. Now the question is, can I get this one opened? This just smells so good. I honestly at first was terrified to try and make this because never made it before, didn't know what I was doing, and just quite literally went for it. So even if you've never done it before, this recipe is quite simple. It's not difficult to follow, not difficult to do your own little thing, add or subtract something, but you definitely don't want to subtract anything, just because you don't want to ruin the consistencies of anything. And anyone worried that if it's acidic, it's actually not. I do have a lot of issues with things being too acidic, and this is actually just perfect because you use so much tomato paste that helps to neutralize the acidity. And please excuse my furball if you see him. Again, it's my house. I don't tell my dog where to go. He goes where he wants. Yes, I avoid, make sure that his hair doesn't get into the food, but again, stop eating random stuff. That is one thing I will yell at him for doing. But don't come at me for it. No, you don't have to do so much layers. I think I'm going to have enough for one more layer. Again, whatever size, doesn't matter. Lasagna is lasagna. And if you do less, then you will, of course, have this leftover meat sauce, and it can be refrigerated for a couple of days. I would say no more than 4 days. And you can use it for your spaghetti. It really just makes perfect spaghetti. And using your fresh Parmesan cheese as well. I think I got enough room for one more layer. I have just enough noodles for one more layer. Perfect. I like to try to use them all in one go because again, this recipe I usually only do about once a month just because it can be pretty expensive sometimes. I just shop at Walmart and I have no problems with it because Walmart's awesome. At this point, since we are basically at the last layer, we do want to try to use up all of the ricotta. It's expensive, so we can't waste it. But it looks to be, it will be the same amount on this layer as all the others, so it's okay. Alright, so now that's good to go. Naked spots. No naked spots. There we go. Alright, so again, we're gonna repeat. This time what I'm going to do, since it is the last layer, I'm just going to go ahead and add a layer of meat sauce and then do the mozzarella and parmesan on top of the meat sauce. Stop licking random stuff. Go. Now you're going to be told to go. Stop licking the wall, you weirdo. Oven just got done preheating. Alright. Like I said, at this point, just top it with the remaining mozzarella. Even if there isn't a whole lot left, that's okay. Just top it with what you got. Like I said, it's cheese. Who doesn't like cheese? I mean, I really shouldn't be eating cheese, but it's okay. It's fine. Don't you laugh out there.
It's not fine. I love you,
I love you too.
but it's the opposite of fine.
Right. So now it does say to cover with tin foil, but if you're like me and you constantly forget to grab it, you're gonna want to take just a cookie sheet. Move. Now you have to move because Mom's opening the oven. Back up. Go. Now at the end of it all, it should look like this. Heavy as hell. You're just gonna set that right in the middle of the rack. And just gonna set this right on top. And you want to make sure to put it on the side upside down, so that way, because of the way that has the rim, it'll set over the casserole dish and prevent it from touching the cheese. So what we're gonna do now is let it cook for 25 minutes and we'll be back. So at this point, 25 minutes have gone off. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna go ahead and uncover that. So we're gonna carefully pull this out of the oven and remove just the lid, and it should be melty. The cheese should be all melty looking, and the sauce should be bubbling. But now, what we're gonna do is it has to cook for another 25 minutes so it can finish baking, the cheese can crispen up a little, and it will be ready to eat after it sets for about 5-10 minutes. So stay tuned. Alright, so that 25-minute timer went off. That means she is done and ready. Oh, and it smells so good. And then I'm gonna bring the camera over to the stove because I do not feel like dropping it. So, once you are done, and it is done, it should look like this. Beautiful, bubbly, and crisp. And at this point, you're gonna, I usually will set it on to pot holders on the counter so that way it can cool down for a few minutes, because you don't want to cut directly into it while it is hot. It will not cut right and it will create a massive mess. So you want to let it cool for about 5 to 10 minutes. Definitely not on the stovetop because that will continue to build heat up. Switch it to your countertop. Once ready, cut it up and enjoy. Heat up either garlic bread or breadsticks. I do believe I only have breadsticks, so that's what we'll be eating as a side with this. I hope you guys enjoy. Let me know how it tastes. Let me know maybe your different tweaks that you did to it. And this is Gourmet Galaxy. Have a great day.